I'm Ed Harding with J.C. Monahan. You recognize Charlie Baker.
How you doing?
Very well, sir. Thank you. How are you this afternoon?
Well, I'm fine, but I'm also sad, and as I said earlier in the week, I'm especially sad for the mayor and his family, because if ever there was somebody who deserved to have a golden, great retirement, after 20 years of literally every single day, from sun up to sundown and then some, serving the people of this city, it was Tom Menino. And I feel fate pulled one over on the Menino family, and my family's thoughts and prayers are with them.
And you're right, the timing is never good for this, but immediately upon leaving office.
I mean, to some extent, this was a guy who, said, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to do a tour, and then I'm going to hang around with my family, which I haven't been able to do as much as I should have for a long time. And I think even though people knew he was sick, I mean, we were in Attleboro this morning. We had a whole bunch of big gaggle down there, and we're having our usual back and forth on the issues of the day in the governor's race. And all of a sudden, somebody looked at their phone and said, Tom Menino just died. And it just sucked all the air out of the room. And I think, even though people knew he was not doing well, I think it was still a shock that he had passed. And frankly, we suspended our campaign for today and tomorrow because we believe that it would just be inappropriate to do anything else. 20 years he was the mayor of the city. That's just remarkable. And he would still be mayor if his health hadn't deteriorated. Well, he was, what was it, that 50% of the people who voted for him had shaken his hand?
Right.
54, I think
54
he actually. He was pretty proud of that, too.
54.
Yeah. He was pretty proud of that.
And he was, I mean, we talk a lot about his attention to detail, but there's also a lot of very big things that happened in Boston over those 20 years. And as I remind people that, well, I got to know him when I worked for Bill Weld and Paul Cellucci, when I worked on a bunch of city projects. He was my second largest customer, City of Boston, when I was at Harvard Pilgrim, so I would talk to him a couple times a year just to see how we were doing. Right. And he would call me every once in a while and tell me about some teacher who was having problem with an authorization, or some pharmacy that was having trouble getting their claims paid. And I just remember marveling at how no detail, if it involved anyone in his city, was too small. And he would pick up the phone, he would call me, and he would expect me to get on it and fix it. And so I would. I can hear him say, hey, Charlie. I can just hear that. Well, the really interesting one, of course, would be when I was busy and it would take me a couple days to get to it, and he would call me back. And I would hear him, and he would say, and I would say, geez, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I've been busy. And he would say, well, I've been busy too. And here I am calling you again. And I said, don't worry, I'll fix it. I'll get on it.
Are there lessons learned from his legacy that you take with you?
Oh, I think the biggest one is he always said that if you're in public life, remember that the best way to stay on top of what's going on is to talk to the people directly about what's happening. I mean, I've always been one of these people who thought the best way to find out what was really happening on the ground was to go spend some time talking to people who were on the ground. Yeah. And I think Mayor Menino turned that into an art form. And his focus on the people of his city, and on the neighborhoods especially, you just see it everywhere. I mean, I've been campaigning all over the city of Boston in this race. I've been in every neighborhood, and you can see, the gardens and the housing and the Main Street development and all the things where there used to be holes, that there's now life and commerce and housing and just all sorts of stuff, where he's been over the course of his 20 years just filling in the gaps. Sure, and at the same time, of course, you have the development of the seaport and a whole series of other equally significant initiatives. You don't have the elevated expressway behind it. Exactly. Great to see you, sir. Good to see you, too. Thank you. Charlie Baker.
Thank you very much.
Sharing some thoughts.